Hi, it's Sarah. It's day 11 of the Body Image Advent Challenge, and today's topic is eating disorders. And as much as, I was up for getting opinions from the public today, I also realised that, it's impossible to know the person that I speak to, whether they've suffered with an eating disorder, know someone who has, or if, their opinions are purely based on what they've heard in the media and from, various other sources. So I thought it would be interesting to speak to some people who I know have suffered and get their opinions on how their body image and eating disorders have affected each other, whether they're sort of related or not. So I've got some quotes that I'm going to show you. So number 1, I have good days where I'm okay with the way I look, and others where only after some exercise do I feel able to leave the house. I mean, I think with this one, what strikes me is that it's actually relevant. It's kind of like a larger extreme to, I think, a lot of people. I think we all have days where we feel better about ourselves and days where we hate the way we look. I think for it to affect people to the extent where it's limiting what they do with their lives is really, really sad. And unfortunately, I'm not even sure that that's purely related to people with eating disorders. I think there are lots of people with such negative body image that it really does affect the decisions they make and, the opportunities they take in life. And I think that's really sad. Number 2. I can't look at my body these days. It disgusts me, and my eating disorder has made it the object reflecting my failings. It makes me really sad to read this because I know who wrote it, and she's a complete gem. But I think what is really important about it is that it says that her, the eating disorder has made her body the object reflecting her failings, meaning her body isn't a symbol of her failings. Her body is not a failing. It's the way I read it is that the eating disorder has put that kind of perception on the whole thing. It's the pressure of the eating disorder and the beliefs of the eating disorder that have made her feel that way, rather than the fact that she is a failure because of how her body looks. I hope that makes sense. I've still got a bit of a groggy head, I'm really sorry. Number 3. How did my eating disorder make me feel about my body? Confused. Some days I looked in the mirror and was disgusted by my skeletal frame. Other days I was disgusted by all the chubby bits. Again, I think we, like I said, we all have days where we like our body or dislike our body for different reasons, maybe I should say with this one. I think, the main thing that I take from this though is that it's that word confusion. And I think a lot of sufferers feel so confused about, I'm being told one thing, but I feel this way. I think it's a really important point that this person picks up on the fact that they sort of had a skeletal frame. It's, in my experience, it does get to a stage where you know that you are thin, because you have to, at some point, on some level, you have to see that. It's about trusting whether that's enough or not. But, when people are severely underweight, my belief is that you are aware that you can see your bones and how. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, so I don't understand the full workings of it, but how that manifests itself in terms of still not thinking you are thin enough, or reflecting that into body image terms is another thing. But for me, that kind of proves that eating disorders are not about being thin. They're about something much deeper. It's just far easier to measure it on the basis of size, weight, and shape. Number 4. My body image was massively affected by my eating disorder. It became totally warped and wrong. It will never be completely right, but I'm learning what's really acceptable now. Okay, I love a part of this. I think it's brilliant. And it's not that I'm devalidating it, because, this is someone who I know and love. And I'm not saying what she's saying is wrong, but I would like to believe differently to part of it. So part A, the bit I love, my body image was massively affected by my eating disorder. It became totally warped and wrong. Completely agree with that. In terms of the body image was affected by the eating disorder. The eating disorder was not caused by the body image. It's kind of more the other way around. Eating disorders are weird things. They do weird things to your mind, and it's very easy to lose sight of what you see and being able to trust what you see in the mirror, as opposed to what your head is kind of receiving back and playing back to you. The bit that I want not to believe is that it will never be completely right. Some of the most amazing people I know and most fabulous people I know have recovered from eating disorders, and that's one of my main pet peeves about the way eating disorders are portrayed in the media. But given this message that, you know, you will never recover properly, it's kind of a life sentence, I think that's rubbish. I've met people who've recovered, and you know what? I think a lot more people would do better with recovery if they were told it was possible. You know, by putting across all these negative messages, what hope is that giving people? It just makes me ridiculously angry. I'm not going to go into it now. That's for another day. But, you know, that's a little insight. Right, number 5. Initially, my experience with anorexia just gave me a poor body image, but at one point it completely destroyed my relationship with my body. It was as if I felt no relation to my body whatsoever. The reason it seems like I can't read is because I'm getting a mirror reflection in my camera, so I'm actually kind of reading all this backwards. It's not just that I'm stupid. Or still ill. I can read, I promise. I think this is really important as well. They're all important, that's why I'm showing them to you. I think it's a real shame when people feel so separate from their body that, you know, they feel no relationship with it. And I can kind of relate to this to an extent, from when I was ill, and I think it's a real shame not to be able to kind of celebrate and embrace yourself, as opposed to, you know, feeling such a disconnection with your body. I think that's a real shame, and I think this does a lot in explaining how, you know, despite the body and size, weight and shape being such a massive focus to people a lot of the time when they're suffering with an eating disorder, it's not as simple as just measuring or weighing. It doesn't actually give you the answers that you want, which is part of what makes it so difficult, I think. Last one, and I'm really pleased that I got this one through, because I guess in a selfish way, it kind of sums up what I feel about eating disorders and body image and the way they are related. For me, it was more about control than body image. It's not as simple as developing an eating disorder because you think you're ugly. I think that's gold dust right there. Eating disorders are very complex things. If everyone who thought they were ugly developed an eating disorder, then I can guarantee at some point every person on this earth pretty much would have developed one. And I'm not saying, you know, there's not far too many people suffering anyway, because the numbers are ridiculous at the moment. Not ridiculous, devastating, I should say. But, you know, like I said earlier, it's really difficult to measure emotions and to articulate emotions and feelings sometimes. It's far easier to look at what we're told we should look like, we should wear, what beautiful is, and try and work towards that. It's much easier to measure how well you're doing. It's much easier to look at something and, you know, work towards these often unobtainable goals that we are set. It's an eating disorder, I think, always stems from something much deeper, something much harder to articulate, and because of the society we live in, I mean, is it any coincidence that the highest rates of eating disorders recorded are in, you know, countries like the United States and the UK? I don't think so. If we lived in a different society where beauty wasn't such a massive thing, where body image wasn't such a massive issue, would it be such a problem? You know, I don't know, but my guess is maybe not. If the pressures aren't there, are we going to look to control, you know, a massive part of our lives in that particular way? My guess again is probably no. But you know, I can't say that for definite, but that's my very strong feelings about it. I hope that was of some interest to you, and hopefully I'll have some more videos for you tomorrow. So thanks very much for watching. Bye.